Like, I mean, I've booked more stunt roles and I've gotten better and bigger auditions that I feel comfortable doing because I know I look better, I know I feel healthier, which adds to my confidence more than alcohol ever did. So it's just breeding better things in every aspect of my life. Who am I? Well, I mean, in this current body, if you will. My name is John Thomas Gauthier, originally from Ottawa, Ontario. Moved to Toronto about 7 or 8 years ago. I've been a bartender for 20 years now. I started acting professionally about 7 years ago. And who am I guess, as an individual? I'm just a very easygoing, energetic, extroverted introvert. I didn't really start drinking until I was probably 18, 19, really when I started, I guess, in the bars. I remember being at parties, you know, at like maybe 17, 18, and I was the kind of guy who would take his 40 into the bathroom, pour half of it out into the toilet and come back out. I'm like, oh man, I'm so drunk. I didn't like the taste of booze. Like for the longest time, I never really liked the taste of alcohol. It was just kind of to fit in and be part of the cool gang. And then when I did start to actually drink, I think probably when I was about 19, it was around the time that I really got into the bar scene. When I said earlier that I'm an extroverted introvert, I love to perform. I was in theater, I did high school plays, I made short films with my cousins and all that kind of stuff when I could get my hand on a video camera. I love to perform and I love to entertain. Now, this does not mean that I'm not ever nervous. I mean, in auditions to this day, I'm extremely nervous. It's just a part of it. But alcohol definitely, you know, gives that liquid courage, gives a bit of confidence and lowers the inhibitions. So I never did enjoy the taste in the beginning, but the feeling of, oh, like I can go and talk to girls, or I don't mind if I'm working on the bar and I drop a shaker tin, because, you know, you don't want to be embarrassed because you messed up. When you've had a few shots and you're like, oh, I don't care, like this is fine. Crap happens, keep it going. So it almost becomes like a protective barrier, a protective shell that you're numbed against judgment or insults or insecurities. I started working downtown, like downtown Ottawa, so it was a really busy, massive Irish pub downtown. And I mean, that's where the staff, it was that toxic community where everyone's sleeping together, everyone's drinking together, everyone's partying together, and everyone's doing drugs together. That's really when I was first introduced to it, and that's when I kind of began getting used to drinking on bar, or being used to being part of the drinking culture. And then a couple years after that, once I was in the nightclubs, like bartending, really loud music, really intense energy, and really fast paced, it just becomes normal, you know. Customer does a round of shots, you do a shot with them. Whether they buy it for you or not, you're just like, yeah, I'll do a shot too. So probably I want to say in my late 20s is when it was like, okay, I'm drinking heavily 4 or 5 nights a week, not because I have an urge to drink, but because it's just so normal. I think for a lot of people, particularly in the hospitality industry, you kind of become accustomed to drinking. You know, when you start drinking 4 or 5 drinks and you're half in the bag, and then all of a sudden you can drink 10 or 12 shots behind the bar and you're kind of tipsy, but you can do your cash out. And then it was at the point later in my bartending career where I could drink a 2.6 of vodka and drive my girlfriend's car home. I mean, I was definitely not sober, but I was functioning. When I moved to Toronto, it was for the purpose of being closer to my son. I had a steady job offer and to pursue the acting career. So like those 3 opportunities all lined up, I was just like, I can't say no. It's now or never kind of thing. So when I moved to Toronto and I started hanging out with more actors, I mean, I'm not saying that actors don't have drug and alcohol problems. A lot of us do. But just instead of hanging out with bar staff or bar people or nightlife people, I was hanging out with more artists. So it was a slow transition into being around people that were more inspiring to my true goals and my true passions. And then in doing so, I was like, okay, cool. What kind of an actor do I want to be? Or what do I want to do with my career? Okay, I'm a tall guy. I've got some tattoos. I've been growing my hair. Okay, Viking stuff is cool. I'll start working out. Okay, what happens if I want to get big and muscular and get strong? I should probably take better care of my body. so I should probably drink a little bit less. Okay, this is starting to work. So if I drink even less than I'm drinking, what kind of shape can I get into? And that's not even just speaking in terms of physical, it's mental as well. So the more effort I put into cutting everything down that was negative, whether it be the people I was hanging out with, the food I was putting in my body, the drugs I was putting in my body, or the alcohol, things just only really started to get better. So this past New Year's, so about 6 months ago, it's day ending 160 something without a drink for me. So it's been about 6 months, close to. My girlfriend was having an after party on New Year's Eve, and I was working at the bar. All before that, we were serving till whatever, 4 o'clock in the morning. It was a long, long night. And as usual, I was drinking at the bar. I was having shots with my fellow bar staff and with customers, and everyone was having a good time, and it was good. And then this was the first time that I was going to be meeting a lot of my girlfriend's friends at the after party, and I was showing up late. They'd been partying all night. So I was like, okay, I don't want to be nervous. I got to catch up. I got to make sure I'm at the same level as everyone else is. So I showed up to the party at around 5 o'clock in the morning, and to make sure that I was on the same level and that I wasn't nervous and that I could be completely present and outgoing, I had brought a bottle of tequila with me. And in less than 2 hours, I essentially drank the whole bottle of tequila. Then when I woke up for about 3 days, it was just booze blues, hangover. I didn't want to eat, I didn't want to sleep, I didn't want to train, I didn't want to have sex, I didn't want to do anything. I was just so completely disheveled, just so broken, and just so depressed. I mean, I'm probably stretching the term, it's booze blues, but I mean, I felt awful. And it was then I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm done. I at least want to try. And I was just like, this is the time. Like, I want to take my acting career to the next step. I want to be a better role model for my son. I want to be a better human being 24 hours a day in any situation that I'm in. So that was for sure the catalyst. That was the event. And I was just like, I'm done. I'm out. So I'm not going to say that it was easy. But for me, it was really like the decision has been made to put a focus on my physical health, my mental health, my career, and my relationships. So when it came to picking those or picking alcohol, the decision was very, very easy for me at that point. And I have no problems working at the bar the entire night at turning down shots, turning down drinks. It's not even a temptation because I'm so mentally invested in what is good for me. And I mean, even after this 5.5 month point, I told myself I'd do a year. I don't see myself ever going back to having a drink. And I'm not judging anyone who drinks. I'm just saying that for me, it's not worth it. I'd rather have a mocktail or have a big glass of water and I can have a nice meal. I can have a nice night out with friends. I can go to concerts. I can go to shows. There's lots you can do. And I just don't have the desire to put alcohol in my body because it just didn't work for me anymore. So it was easy in that sense to walk away because there was so much more good that was coming from the decision to go completely sober. Putting the posts on my Instagram to track my sobriety journey and kind of using it as a sounding board and as a journal has attracted a lot of attention from men and women and everyone reaching out to me privately and being like, hey man, I've been reading your posts, a lot of that stuff resonates with me. Not necessarily everything, but it's inspired me to take a stab at it. And I've got friends and acquaintances that I've known for 2 years. I've got friends and acquaintances I've known for almost 20 years that have reached out and said, I'm inspired by your decision. Whether I can do it or not myself, I at least want to try, or it at least gives me something to think about. Especially with social media, everyone posts their wins. You always see the best angles of the best pictures of the best videos that everyone wants to show. No one wants to show their stomach rolls. No one wants to show their cellulite. No one wants to show the auditions they didn't book. No one wants to show, their not perfect apartment. We're so obsessed with perfection and not showing any flaws that we have these nearly unattainable goals and visions of what other people's lives are like. And we all know it's bullshit. It's not accurate, but this is what we project, this is what we present. So to show some weakness, in the sense of the word, to show some vulnerability, it's enabled a lot of people to look at me like, oh my God, look at this big, strong, tattered up, tough guy. Is like, if you know me more than 5 minutes, that's not who I am. But to have that image of me and to see some vulnerability and some honesty and some openness, it allows other people who may not have had an outlet or an opportunity to reach out for help. They have somebody who they can look at and say, I didn't know you were like that at all. Maybe I can do this too. So that's been huge. It's been really, really invigorating and really inspiring for me as well, to have people that are at least becoming more aware and putting some effort into working on their own physical and mental health. And then, I mean, in the career aspect of it, like, I am in physically better shape than I've been almost in my entire life. And for my acting and my stunt work, that only helps me. Like, I mean, I've booked more stunt roles and I've gotten better and bigger auditions that I feel comfortable doing, whether it be shirtless or in a tank top or in a tight shirt, because I know I look better. I know I feel healthier, which adds to my confidence more than alcohol ever did.
You sent me to check in your donation?
We're on this floating rock for whatever it is, an average of 80 years now. I mean, this is our one spacesuit. So take good care of it. The better you take care of it, the better it's going to treat you. I mean, the mind, body, and soul. And then, I mean, the not drinking also enabled me to just not be distracted in terms of any conversations or any engagements I would have with partners, with friends, with coworkers, with anyone really. I was just a lot more present and a lot more truly myself. Like, I didn't have to pretend to be something I'm not, because who I am now, I think, is more like I've always meant to be. I'm not relying on a persona or putting on a mask to pretend to be something that I'm not, because when you do that for so long, you almost become reliant on it. It's become expected of you. Like, I was expected because of the last 20 years on bar, you're a party guy, you're outgoing, you're always on. And it's really draining. It was really, really draining. So the path to becoming a better person, I mean, getting serious about therapy, getting serious about accountability. I mean, I'm no angel. We've all made mistakes in our past. I haven't done the greatest things to a lot of people, whether it's been because of alcohol or drugs or decisions. It's a combination of things. But the decisions that I've made, especially in the last 6 months, has really allowed me to sit with myself, take some accountability, mend some relationships, and bring my best self into any new connection or any new relationship that I encounter, whether it be social, professional, or romantic. Sitting with mistakes from my past and learning. I mean, it's very easy to say that you're sorry for something that you've done, or for certain attitudes that you've had in the past, certain acts, certain decisions, certain mistakes, whatever you want to call it. And it's less about looking to others for the forgiveness and more about looking at myself and being like, listen, you messed up, everyone messes up, and that's okay. Like, you have an opportunity to learn from it, and you have an opportunity to be a better person moving forward. In every decision that we make throughout our day, we can choose a light path or a dark path. And I mean, it could be something as simple as holding the door open for a stranger, or being honest and accountable if you mess up at work, or if you mess up with your relationship and your partner calls you out on it and they say they're uncomfortable about something and you try to gaslight them. There's always room to grow and always room to learn. And it's understanding that my mistakes from my past do not dictate my future. And I can't remember where I heard that, but not to have expectations, but to have standards. You have no control over other people's actions or, frankly, reactions. I mean, everyone's got their own emotions, everyone's got their own beliefs and their own visions. One of the big truths for me is that any decision that you're gonna make is on you. So if you're willing to make the decision, you have to be willing to accept the accountability, good or bad. One of my favorite movies of all time is Jurassic Park. And One of the characters in it is John Hammond. He's the one who created the park. And he's got this beautiful quote right before all hell breaks loose. And the quote is, "I don't blame people for their mistakes, but I do ask that they pay for them." You can be very sorry for the mistakes that you've made, and you can beg for forgiveness, and you can learn, but there's still that accountability. And mistakes and things that I've done in my past, I've made amends with a lot of them, and I've faced a lot of them, whether it be with the individual or individuals that have been crossed or wronged or hurt. And I've made some with myself, whether it be sitting with myself or in therapy. But the universal truth is that, whatever you're gonna do is on you, and whatever anyone else is gonna do is not on you. When people ask me, like, "Are you drinking?" And it's like, no, I don't drink. I'm no longer saying it like, "No, I'm not drinking. It's not my thing." I'm saying it with such pride and such strength. Like, I'm not bordering on bragging about it, but I'm so happy and so confident with it. It's like, no, I don't drink. So I'm so happy with my decision that being surrounded by drugs and alcohol, it's almost like having blinders on. It's like, I'll do my job, I'll show up, I'll do it to the best of my abilities, but that's as far as it goes. I want to at least do the year and see how my body, my mind, and my soul feel. Who knows? Maybe in 6 months from now, maybe in 10 years from now, I might have a drink. I might get drunk again. We figure that, any slip up is a failure. Well, no. I'll use another cliche term. I don't believe that you win or lose. I believe that you win or learn. Like, there's no losses, there's only lessons. These little slip ups that we have, we're so used to coming down on ourselves so hard that we really have to break that, because it's not helping ourselves. If we're gonna judge ourselves for every mistake that we've ever made, our lives are gonna be nothing but judgment. You're always gonna be worried about what you've done in the past, and you're always gonna be worried about the mistakes you're gonna make in the future, and you're not gonna enjoy your present. It doesn't make any sense to me. If I could speak to my younger self, I would let them know that it's okay to make mistakes. I would almost argue that it's important to make mistakes, because you learn more. That's why they're called lessons, not losses, than your wins. I think if you're gonna be good at anything, you should probably be crap at it to start, because it will teach you how to adapt, how to evolve, how to improve. And the things that you learn from your losses, your lessons, will help you much more in the long run than the victories ever will. If anyone takes anything away from this documentary or any of my words, just please understand that people make mistakes. You will make more mistakes, and that's okay, as long as you're willing to learn and you're willing to try.